I met that. You know what? That's where it comes from. I was on the wing of my rugby team in Australia, and my nickname was Shaka.
Really?
Because at the time Shaka Zulu was on television.
That's funny.
You know, and so they said when I was running up the sideline, it was just, you know.
Well, that works for me because actually one of my favorite teams is the All Blacks.
All Blacks, yeah.
The Maori, you know, I forget what it's called.
Haku, right? Is that?
Haku.
Oh.
Yep.
Who are these?
Yay.
These
All
are the
Black. Yeah, I said it.
This is Google Plus.
Hey, people.
This would be like if you took Facebook, Skype, put them together into one social network and fan video chats. We have people from all over the world.
Captain Lamb. Who's Captain Lamb?
Well, I'm going to run you.
I like the Haku.
Kote, who
so
joined
mean.
from the UK.
Hey, how are you, brother?
Brad Proctor's new in our Hangout. So, Brad, I don't recall. Where are you from, Brad? Are you muted?
I'm joining you from a couple hours northwest of Dallas, Texas.
There you go. Elaine Lindsay is with us as well, and Maria's much better at remembering where everybody's from than I am. I'm terrible with that. So, Elaine, where are you joining us from today? And she might be muted as well.
Ottawa.
Hey, the guy from
Ottawa,
Texas.
Canada.
I just read.
Sorry, I'm in Ottawa.
I just read an incredible
I was
story
muted.
about Parker. Quanah. He was like in like Dallas. The whole Texas area was I guess run by the Comanches back in the day, and yeah, there's this book about the history of it. You know, the history of the settling of that area, and it's just fascinating. I mean, fascinating. I mean, I think the Indians down there were the last ones standing, really. You know, Quanah was this half caste. His mother had been taken from a fort, and then married a chief of the Comanche tribe, and he was this half caste chief, and he was the last of all the Indians to ever, and he wasn't even captured. He ended up just sort of agreeing to come in peaceably. They couldn't catch him. He was like fantastically.
That sounds pretty nice.
No, we have Justin Hill, who's also in the UK. Kempton Lamb, who you saw is in Canada.
Hi.
Joins us from St. Louis. Is that where we're at, Kim?
Kansas City.
Kansas
City. Woohoo!
Hey, Kim, watch out for those.
Red,
Probably not a joke where you're from, but all I ever hear about Kansas when I'm watching the news in New Zealand is these tornadoes. I'd love to see one.
Tornadoes and barbecue.
Barbecues, okay, I have to come down.
Shaka won't leave. I'm like trying to kick him out.
Shaka's the new. This is like Anchorman. We're taking over.
Okay, hold still. I gotta get a picture of that.
I just have a quick question, then I'm gonna pull Maria in.
She was too damn beautiful.
Wow. She's a pretty gal. And then Trevor is in the UK as well. I'm gonna throw this out there real quick, and especially knowing that you have some Maori lineage.
Yep.
What is it like to have that lineage, to have that bloodline, and then get to play a character like Crixus in the movie Spartacus? I mean, do you ever? I'm just gonna be real. Do you ever get off the set there and then go just beat your chest and go, I'm a warrior?
Yeah. Before I do any of my fight scenes, I do karakia, which is preparation that we Maori do before we go into the haka. You know, like you'll notice in the haka, before they start the haka, the leader goes kia rite, kia rite, kia. So kia rite means prepare yourself. So whenever I do a fight scene on Spartacus, I'm always going kia rite in my head. You know, every time without fail. You know, and that makes me own it. You know, makes it mine.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've got a question.
I've got a question too.
Oh, so
you don't want to let a pretty girl hang out with me.
Maria's like,
Forget about it.
get him out. Move, Shaka.
Maria is blushing now.
Ooh, Maria.
No, you know, everyone's teasing me. Going, I'm over here to the side, and they go, wait, is Shaka gonna get out of there? What's going on?
It's not moving.
Even work here?
No, Oh, I don't know who that guy is.
He followed me from Starbucks. I was like, with you. Okay. We've just
New Zealand.
New Zealand.
He's a bit of a Kiwi here. That's yeah, that's Julie Chang, our entertainment reporter and anchor as well. As you can see, it's very casual here and very informal.
This is great.
You've met everyone. I think I heard Shaka introduce you to everybody. Yes.
Yeah. We've met half the world.
I love it that you can do the haka and do all that. You know, I'm from Hawaii, and so I'm very from Aloha. Yes, yes. And so I'm very familiar with the Haka dance.
Can I have a lei?
You know what? I don't have one, but I can pretend to give you one.
She got it. Look at that. Put on your lei. I love it.
Have you been to Hawaii?
Laugh it out. Yeah, I have. I've surfed the North Shore. I've caught a 20-foot wave, almost 20-foot wave at sunset, and it almost killed me.
Sunset. Yeah, I know.
I've surfed my whole life.
We've lost many bathing suits there, my friends and I, at sunset.
I'm gonna switch off for a second.
It's all harmless.
Oh, Maria.
I love my husband, but you know, hey, I'm not. I can marry you.
Love it. She threw her husband in there.
All right. Do you guys have questions?
I have a question.
By the way?
I have to ask a question too.
Yeah. His hand up.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Manu, I love the Haka dance. My blog friend Kevin Roberts introduced me to it years ago, and the first time I saw it, wow, it was awesome. So I want to ask you, how old did you learn Haka? What was the first time, and how long did it take you to learn the dance? And did your father or someone teach you? What was the experience like?
To be honest, Kempton, my history goes like this. My father fell in love with my mother, who was from Australia when I was before I was born.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think hopefully before you were born.
Love child.
Yeah.
But basically, he followed her to Australia. Now, I was raised in Australia, and I was raised without te reo, which is the language, the Maori language. And I was raised pretty much without any exposure to the culture at all. At the age of about 12, I went to a funeral, which is called a tangi, back in New Zealand. And that was my first exposure to anything Maori. Then when I was 16, I went back to New Zealand. I had a few tragedies in my life. My mother and my brother were unfortunately both killed in car accidents when I was 15.
I'm sorry.
So I went to their funeral in New Zealand. You know, they're buried at the Pa. The Pa is the village where my father came from. They call it an uru pa, is the name of the cemetery, and they're buried there. So during that particular episode in my life, my father was going through a lot, and my grandparents took me during that funeral, those days around that funeral, to this boarding school. There was a Maori boys boarding school, and they said, "Look, your uncles, this is a Maori boys school. This is very prestigious for Maori." And so they convinced me that it would be a good idea to go to this school. Lo and behold, it ended up being like going to prison. It was like
it's where the bad boys go.
It was a very tough.
Very strict and tough.
Look, a normal boarding school, I think, has its hierarchical system. A Maori boy boarding school has a hierarchical system that's based on pretty much warrior principles.
Wow.
And when you enter a school like that in a senior year, like I did, and you make the first 15, I was fast, and they chose me in the first 15. A guy called Norm Hewitt was like John Cena on rage drug. This guy was the prop of the rugby team, and he saw me arrive and just hated me.
Oh yeah.
Because I arrived as a senior, I got chosen
and joined. Yeah.
Look at
Wow.
you.
Thought that I didn't deserve any of. You had to build your mana up. The Maori call it mana.
Yeah.
It'd be like another boarding school, but you've got to earn your stripes.
Right.
It was like me arriving. It was like somebody arriving at the Ludus and expecting to get into straight up into the gladiator scene. Like Spartacus. And I base a lot of my role in Crixus
Wow, that experience.
and Ludus around what I've experienced in the Tialdi College. Yeah. So so basically, you know, Norm was Crixus, and he came and found me, and he beat the crap out of me in this study.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Ouch.
I was on the ground like this, and he was kicking me in the face.
Oh, whoa.
And I remember lying on the ground like a cowering, going like, "Oh, you know, my mother just died, and you know, stop it." And this guy was going, "Shut up, wake up to your reality." You know?
You're talking like a Jake the Muss type guy then, because that's who I'm picturing in my head. You know, in Once We're Warriors.
Absolutely.
I'm just picturing him.
That violence is exactly the level it was.
Wow.
That level,
Now,
you know,
how do you go from that to an actor? How do you go from that school to wanting to become an actor?
Well, you see, when that tragedy happened to me when I was younger, I had you know, everyone chooses how to deal with your emotions. You know, you find the ways to either vent it, you know, and you know, the way that I chose to vent it was at the time at the time my mother was you know, my mother died. I had a girlfriend who was a dancer, and she her ballet school wanted to put on a production of West Side Story. So she asked me.
You got roped in.
Me and a friend of mine was dating her friend. You know, we were dating ballerinas. Later.
You don't. I think we kind of. Yeah.
Anyway, so they said, "Come and play." You know, so next thing, when you're a jet all the way from you. You know, we're doing West Side Story, right?
Right.
And you know, I was an athlete, and the dance teacher noticed that I could move, and I had good coordination. You know, coordination. I did everything in athletics, from running to high jump to long jump to shot put. So my body was kind of like working in all directions, and then dancing sort of just came as an affinity to this. I mean, it's what really gives me a lot of ability, I think, when it comes down to the fight choreography, because I understand the camera like an audience. So when I move, I'm aware where I'm going. You know,
it's like a.
You know, it's dance. It's moving. It's dance. Muhammad Ali said it's dancing. You know.
Boxing, absolutely.
You know.
That's why we love watching Muhammad Ali even today.
So, getting back to the Haka question, I learnt the Haka at Tialti College in the midst of adversity.
Can you still pull it out? Like if you had to?
Oh, you know what? I mean, one of the most passionate Hakas I've been involved in was when Andy Whitfield. We did two Hakas for Andy. We did one when he was going in for his first day of treatment. We did a Haka and we sent it to the hospital in Australia. We were in New Zealand, but he was going into treatment in Australia, and we sent him a video saying, "Andy, we're here, boy. You know, this is for you. You know, be strong." And then unfortunately, when he lost his battle to cancer, we did a Haka with all of the cast and the crew and extras and everybody who was on set that day. And I mean, it was several hundred people. We went stood on the Ludus and we did this Haka, and it was you know, it's moments like that where the Haka becomes important. Because
the collective
Totally.
Absolutely, yeah. It's bringing the spirits forward. It's everything behind you becomes the voice, and it was amazing because it felt like that. It was an out of body experience. The energy of it. Everybody who took part in that particular Haka was still talks about it to this day as being a real Haka.
Amazing.
Yeah, amazing.
I have a question.
Do you have a question? Yes, go ahead.
Yes, it's about The Hobbit.
Hi. How are you, darling?
Oh gosh, I love that accent.
For about 30.
See, now you almost made me forget my question talking. Gosh. In The Hobbit, I know that they do things with the camera to make you look shorter and smaller compared to Gandalf. So the question I have for you is, how did you feel having to, as tall as you are, to... Huh?
Probably
I wasn't shorter.
No. Other people in the movie. But anyway, finish your question. Finish your
Well,
question.
they make you seem smaller to Gandalf.
No, no, no.
How was it playing that character?
I was bigger than everybody. I was Arzog.
In The Hobbit.
I was
You were the
Arzog.
chieftain, right?
So I'm the big guy. I was 14 foot, they say.
14 foot.
Something like that. Yeah.
Oh, okay, I got you.
I tell you what, go onto YouTube. They've just released a really fantastic little video on YouTube called "The Making of Arzog."
Oh, so it's dedicated.
Oh.
And it's like it's like a 2.5 minute
cool.
video, but it's really like I'm so happy about it because it's such a wonderful little bubble of explaining how it was done.
Hey, Brad, did you have a question? I wasn't sure.
That'll answer it better for you,
okay.
Kim.
Lane, did you have a question? I can't remember who had one. Ayub, yes, go ahead. Some kind of
somebody get it.
I actually have two questions, one serious and one not so serious. The first one is the first day back when filming the new series without Andy around. What was the emotion like?
Well, to be honest, it was a day of supporting Liam McIntyre, mostly. That occurred quite a time. The first day of shooting back on set would have been, no, actually, wait up. Let me. Sorry, I'm getting this wrong. So let me correct myself. Liam was shooting when Andy passed. And I'll explain that situation. We were on set out near this airport shooting at our largest studio, in quite a big outdoor battle scene, and somebody came onto set and said we're all standing down for a minute. And
you didn't know why.
We didn't know why. We had no idea. We went, oh, what's going on? We'd never been stood down off set before. The running costs are so expensive. It's you don't stop, the clock doesn't stop, and we all walked off, and nobody had any clue. In the last few weeks of Andy's battle, nobody knew that he was that close to passing, except for our producer Chloe Smith, who was with Andy the whole journey and knew about everything. Anyway, we were stood down for about 20 minutes, and everyone was going like, oh, "Have we been axed or something?" We're just sort of we didn't figure it at all, and then we got called back onto set, and Paul Grinder, our second unit director, stood up and he said that Andy had just passed away, and it was I mean. Look, he Andy had these two kids, and his son used to run on the set. He always used to run up to me and go, "Crixus, my dad's gonna beat you." He's like 7 years old, and his dad was this hero, I know that, like for instance, I've heard, we went to the funeral and the kids didn't come to the funeral. The mother wanted to protect them from the grief, and we've since heard that young Jesse has been quiet. He quietened down, and things like that. I mean, that's the to me the most painful part about thinking about it is I mean, Andy,
children, yeah.
Andy has had this wonderful thing that he said to his children, that he was like a butterfly with broken wings, and he just had to go to the next place. He'd be waiting, and so I mean, it's just heartbreaking.
You don't have children, do you?
I do.
You do.
Yeah, little girls.
You do.
Yeah,
How old is she?
She's 5.
5.
Oh.
Well, the other not so serious though question, which I'm sure you get many a time, is how'd you get the scar?
I was going to ask that.
I'm so sorry. I get this all the time. I was in the car accident with my mother, and I got thrown out the window. And this one here was glass.
Oh my God.
That was hitting glass, and that was hitting the road.
Oh, Manu
But I mean, I was so lucky.
Gee.
There's my eye, and that's
Oh,
all. What,
you're
that all
very
got smashed,
lucky.
you know. So,
Mm.
yeah. But here, I'll tell you a funny. Look, I'll just attach a story to this. You know, I was in a coma for like, you know, I think like 4 or 5 days. And at school, this is another thing that I based my Spartacus Crixus storyline on. There was a guy at school that was my worst enemy, like my worst enemy, and
Oh.
and him and I wanted to kill each other at school. And when I woke up from my coma in the hospital, he was in the hospital room.
Sorry, I'm just laughing at you on air. Sorry. They put you on air and Maria was snuggling up to you. That's why we're laughing. Sorry.
Yeah, he was in the hospital room. And it was like this worst enemy of my life was there. And subsequently, I found out, you know, we'd never known this about each other, but he had lost his mother to cancer or something when he was young.
So you've come together.
And so I was the best man at his wedding. His name's Matthew Sisley. He's the only person who I'm really in touch with from my school, you know. But prior to that accident, he was my worst enemy.
You have a lot of emotion to pull from when you, as an actor, right? I mean, naturally.
Well, I chose art to express myself, you know. Like I just thought, you know, if I can dance with a woman, then that'll help soothe the loss of my mother. You know, I can hold a woman and dance gracefully and go through that emotion like that, rather than some other negative way. You know, rugby and all that sort of stuff was like, you know, if I had some anger or if I had something like that, I'd just go out and take it down the rugby field, you know.
Now, do you live here in LA or do you live in New Zealand?
I'm living in Vancouver now, shooting Arrow. I'm doing a series called Arrow.
Arrow! Woohoo!
Oh, Arrow. Yeah.
Yes.
Justin has the question, and I have a request.
And that's it, you guys.
Justin.
You're still okay? Okay.
Yeah, I was wondering because of your looks and your build, that you keep getting these roles like Spartacus and Arrow and things. Is there anything you'd like to do that would surprise everybody that doesn't fit in with your look and your build and the sort of roles you normally get?
Look, I'd love to. You know, I mean, my friends and my agent, you know, manager, you know, they keep on saying to me, you know, Manu, we're going to find something that'll show your, you know, your lighthearted side, your humorous side, whether it be a romantic comedy or something like this. And, you know, I'd love to explore that territory.
I can see you in a romantic comedy.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Somebody threw an idea around that was The Rock was going to be in this marriage movie, you know, this sort of romantic comedy about going to an island with his new wife, and his brother was somehow involved in this sort of love triangle kind of thing. And somebody said, well, he'd be great against The Rock as his brother. I don't know.
Oh, that would be. I was just thinking about him. That would be good for you to play against him.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I have a request. Manu. The Haka Tribute that you guys made for Andy. Is that on YouTube? I would love to watch it.
It is. Look up Manu Bennett Haka. There's one also where I do it with a group of Jewish friends, and we do a song that's a Jewish song to the Haka.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
I would love to watch it. I'll check it out.
It's in Jewish, but
Picture. Maria, picture.
Who's this guy here?
This is Renzo. He's in Venezuela.
Renzo in Venezuela. Lovely to see you in there, buddy.
Hey, you guys. Thanks so much.
You too, man.
It's been a lot of fun. Check out Manu Bennett on Arrow, that's coming up soon, but Spartacus for the Damned. You're awesome. It was really nice.
Picture, please.
Super awesome. Picture. A hug and maybe a kiss.
Okay.
Oh, that's excellent. Thank you.
Oh,
Excellent.
perfect.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah,
you
thanks a lot for coming.
Attitude.
Yeah, a photo this way though. Anthony,
Totally